I love you. What? Hey, welcome back.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, it's you. Hi.
How you doing?
You found us. We're green and faceless on the couch. I'm the Green Traveler.
And I am the Faceless Leone. This is a podcast about movies and TV. There will probably be spoilers ahead, but we usually let you know when they're coming.
Yeah, and major ones will certainly be hidden behind a wall.
Yes.
Minor ones, you were warned.
Yeah. The Green Traveler over there is a master mason. I shouldn't say that. That's not true.
A master mason. You're going to start Freemason rumors about me?
Yeah.
They won't let me into their society.
What I was going to get at is, besides the fact that they won't let him in, he makes beautiful walls for us to hide things behind.
Gotcha. I see where you're going with it.
Yeah. So
we're wrapping up the golden age of Disney.
Yeah.
With Bambi, which, as we said in our Dumbo review, Bambi was a movie that was a kind of a swing and a miss for us as kids. You know, we watched it and we're so just like, fuck, that was so depressing. Never again.
Yeah. Or I just never honestly got through the second half of it. I think winter takes too long for my childhood ADD brain.
Yeah, there's literally a quote from Bambi that, gosh, winter sure is long, isn't it? And like, I was sitting on my couch just, sipping a beer, like, fucking telling me, Bambi, like, Jesus Christ, like, the second act takes forever.
Yeah, it does. But I have to say, all in all, I loved watching it this time. I don't know, like, I never remember enjoyed watching it as a kid.
I enjoyed it as a kid. It was creepy as a kid. There was a lot of themes that I just didn't understand. Just death in general. I watched it too young to understand what happened to his mom. Big spoiler ahead. Skip to 3:44. Which big spoilers. Explicit. Yeah, big spoilers. 1942 movie. If you don't know what the fuck happened in Bambi, like, where the hell are you? But his mom, there's a part at the end of Act 2 where his mom is shot off screen.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I just didn't get it. I just, I understood that she wasn't there anymore. But I didn't get that she was dead because I didn't understand death when I watched it.
Right. And also,
but it still creeped me out.
The only information you get too is the Great Prince, or whatever his name is like, you will not be with her anymore. That's all. I'm probably misquoting, but that's all you get as the final word of what happened to Bambi's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems to me that none of the parents in this film get.
No, I mean, that's the thing too. Is this film is very? It's just a year of a deer. It's the year of a deer. And it's just, I don't know. It's a nice story. It is, it is interesting to watch Bambi grow up throughout this year. Bambi, make friends with Thumper and Flower. And, he learns the way of the forest, but again, there's not really much connection with anything. It's kind of a boring tale.
No. I mean, there's definitely not a whole lot that goes on. But I also don't feel like it was necessarily padded, which is what our complaint about Dumbo was. Like, I feel like all the stuff that happened belong in this
The
movie.
only issue is that second act, which drags.
Yeah, it does drag on. But I mean, like, I feel like that's also the point. Like,
boy, winter sure is long.
But boy, it sure is.
What's all that white stuff?
It seems that way, Bambi. Yeah, he's just oblivious.
That is one thing. Even though we watched it, my brother and I watched it only once as kids, there were a lot of quotes that came out of this movie that like bird, just running around calling things bird.
Yeah.
It's adorable. It is an adorable movie. The animation's beautiful. Adorable. They got a zoo set up at Disney Studios for the animators to just go down to the little petting zoo and draw all these creatures. Mm-hmm. And it works. The animals look beautiful. The style is wonderful, and it's easy to watch. Definitely. And there's also a fight scene between Bambi and a mysteriously darker deer. I don't know why the deer had to be darker.
Because he's mean and broody.
I think it's just racist Disney. But that scene is great. Like, it looks beautiful. It's kind of like shot in shadow. Colored in shadow, I should say. But it's wonderful animation. Just like, it's a great fight scene too, because you don't know who's winning between Bambi or the opposing deer until like a final scene where one of them just tosses another over a cliff and it stands up in the light, and it's just like, it's a great moment. I love it.
I like the fight scene quite a bit too, but there is like definitely some strong gender norms in this film, but like, I mean, they're talking, it is a nature scene, and it's about spring and what animals do in the spring. They get Twitter-pated, which I fucking love. That the owl's monologue for Twitter-pated. That is hilarious.
Yeah, that owl is great. Honestly, I think we have a friend up in Michigan who is terrified of owls, specifically barn owls. But I think this movie might be deep down what started that fear of his. Because I mean, I think Disney started most of our generation's fears, and I think that this is one of those that started his fears, because that owl has some terrifying, like, there's so many moments where he's just walking around on screen, just twisting his body back and forth, and his head is staying perfect, and it's disturbing. Or he like zooms in at the camera and his eyes are like popped out and like spiraling.
Right, right. You just be walking your merry way, and then you'll get blasted by a pretty face. That's not exact. That's a paraphrase, but it's great.
And Thumper's getting his ear twitched by the female bunny, and his legs just like pounding the floor. I know what you're talking about, Disney.
I mean, even Flower, which I think the song even is like, it could happen even to Flower. I think that's what it's called. The music that's played behind the Twitter-pated monologue. And even he gets set up with a little lady skunk, and later they have little baby skunks. This is, I guess this is a spoiler, but like we said, there's nothing like extremely like twisty plot stuff that's going on here. It really is a year of a deer. Yeah. And I mean, it is, I think it's a pretty good movie. Flower is clearly in love with Bambi.
Thought that, and then until the Twitter-pated scene, and then they showed him, with kids and everything, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's like the part that's kind of like, oh man, really? But still, they name their son.
Yeah, well,
Bambi.
Maybe in the live-action remake,
So
they are making it. I assume Jon Favreau's directing.
I think. I mean, Flower could be pretty fluid. Yeah,
definitely.
For sure. But also, I think that it's just like, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're trying to reflect what they think happens in nature. Like, I don't know.
I'm just asking.
I'm sure that there's animals that like the same sex who still mate.
No, I'm just asking Disney to give us that interspecies fanfic that we've all been asking for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure somebody
I bet they have.
I have.
Bambi goes to town on Flower.
Oh man.
What's all that white stuff?
Oh no, Greg, you gotta take it out. You gotta cut it out. I can't cut that out. No, it's gone. It's got.
But go. Even Bambi gets Twitter pated with what's her name?
Yeah,
it's not Fiona. Felina.
Felina. I think it's
Felina. Whatever. You know, Doe falls in love, has to save her from a mean buck.
I guess it is Felina.
Doubted me. It's a good movie. You know, it's a nice, gentle movie. Yeah. Kids can watch it and be entertained. Yeah, you know, the animation is definitely grabbing. But it's got a boring second act. Nothing really happens. You know, it's like the ending is pretty intense. But there's no strong Disney villain. You know, it's just man, which that is a good statement. You know, man. We'll get into the conversation on Hunters soon, but you know, man being the villain, even though it's a strong one, they just don't do anything with it really, because you never really see man.
Yeah, this is definitely a window into the forest life when man isn't around. Because I mean, you know, when man is there, they run. They're not really in the forest at that point. So most of their lives, you would hope, is them experience life without man, which I think is why this movie does work.
Well, also they make a year seem like it takes like a decade almost passes, but because of how they age, and I mean that is also just real world for animals. You know, they have to live their lives quicker because man comes along and kills them before they have the option at full life.
Yeah.
You know, even they mentioned the prince of the forest, this big buck that lives of the forest. You know, he's the prince because he's lived longer than every other deer. It's like he's seen things. He's made it to 6 years.
Well, Bambi was called a prince too. Every male deer, it seems like, was called a prince, which I thought was really interesting. That there's not really a hierarchy to it.
I didn't really know. I just kind of assumed that because the only two deer that you get to meet in this, or the only two male deer, are the Great Prince and Bambi. I always just kind of figured that the Great Prince fathered Bambi and then just kind of left.
That's what I always assumed too, but for some reason when I was watching it this time, I got the idea that all males are called princes just because of their antlers, their crowns. And but he is the Great Prince because he is the oldest and the wisest.
I believe it. But there was that one scene where he stopped and looked at Bambi.
And there is, and he also does call him his son, but that's after his mother dies. And I thought, okay, he's just going to take Bambi in.
That's what male deer do. They father kids and they get the fuck out. And they watch over them from a distance and never get to raise their kids.
They're protectors until they get Twitter pated again. I really did enjoy Twitter pated a lot. It was almost to the level of the storks.
That's fair. Yeah, I think the Twitter pated and the little April showers are the two scenes that save this movie for me. They save it from being just a forgettable good movie. Because I mean, honestly, if there weren't those two songs and that third act, I really just wouldn't remember that Bambi existed.
I think that's pretty fair because I know I've at least attempted to watch this movie several times, and up until my most recent watch where I was trying to watch it pretty intently, that's kind of what I remembered as well. It was like his mom dies and he's sad, and then that's what I remember. I didn't even remember the Twitter.
Yeah, and his mom doesn't die until like
but
late into the movie. Like, yeah, there's so much of nothing that happens in the beginning. So I say so much of nothing. Yeah. It's so much beautiful animation and great background music, which is another interesting thing. Is the characters don't sing the music in this. It's all background. You know, it's kind of like Fantasia in that regard, where it's like it's underscored. You know, it's just a soundtrack where animation and characters react to it rather than singing. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like I get used to Disney being something where it's a musical, you know, where the characters are all bursting in the song. And then you have a movie like Bambi, which for whatever reason I've always remembered as a musical, and I watch, I'm like, oh, it's not really a musical. It is in a way.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I think there's definitely plenty of ballet moments with the animals, which I really enjoyed this time around. Like, I feel like when I was a kid, to really pay attention, I needed to the song bits. I needed the characters to be singing it, like you were just talking about. But I think that when I was watching it this time, and maybe my experience at the Opera House and lighting ballet kind of added to this, but watching just the animation of these animals going about and prancing and stuff was, I mean, it's
it
really
is riveting.
Well done.
I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful artwork. I mean, I can't, you know, I feel like that's going to be a running theme with Disney, is even when their story sucks, the artwork is typically, you know, well done. They get the best animators, and like even just with a zoo, for them to just go down and, you know, draw, like Disney didn't hold back on the money for it, which is surprising, because even though this is the golden age of Disney, they weren't making gold. You know, they were losing money. I think this was like one of the first. You know, Dumbo did well financially, I think, but I think Bambi was the one that really boosted sales again.
That's good, because like I said, it's pretty. I think that parents that were taking their kids to go see it could be impressed by this movie, and maybe that's why it did well. I mean, it just like I said, like the music to the animation is some of the best I think I've seen, really. I mean, Fantasia definitely did a lot of inspiration for what goes on.
But it's more entertaining than Fantasia, I would say, just because you're more connected to the characters that are doing things on screen.
Oh, definitely. You are invested in what happens to Bambi and Thumper and Flower.
Not enough screen time for poor Flower.
Yeah. He's maybe he does in Bambi 2. The sequel that didn't have to happen.
So with this playlist, we're only going to be doing the what was released through Animation Studios. So most sequels aren't actually going to be on the list, but we will come back. We will come back and add those sequels in later. Yeah, I think I think Disney didn't trust the sequels until just recently with like Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Frozen 2.
Frozen 2, yeah. Yeah, they really put a lot into that new Frozen movie, but I guess we'll talk that eventually.
About a year and a half, 2 years from now.
Yeah. It'll be a while.
Yeah. Next is the wartime era. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Well, I'm kind of excited.
You thought the war was wrecking the golden age. Wait until you get to the wartime era.
I'm kind of excited to see. So I guess I mean, like, there's like you said, there's really not much to talk plot wise about this movie.
Yeah, we could talk its effect on hunters, because it really is negative to hunters. And I come from a hunter family. You know, the Green Travelers, alien family. You know, spaceships flying around, kidnapping humans. We like hunting. You know, I mean, not all of us. I've been out hunting once. I was given a pistol and told to sit at the bottom of a deer stand, and if I saw a deer, not to actually shoot, because I would hurt myself. So I don't know why I was given a pistol, but that was my one hunting experience. It was cold. I wish I had a book and a pipe, But I would go again if I like. I'm a vegetarian, well, pescatarian technically.
Okay.
But I respect people who hunt if they use, all of or as much of the body as possible.
Right.
Right. Nothing go to waste. Honor the kill, whatever. This movie, on the other hand, really just makes them the villains because, it's just like it builds up this love for Bambi, and it's like, look, Hunter's just took away his mom. Now he's got nobody. How's that make you feel? Huh? You piece of shit.
Well, I do have one thing about the hunters in this movie. I mean, they are shooting after a doe, which nowadays is a no-no. But then again,
not a full no-no. I think you're allowed some doe kills still.
Oh yeah.
I think they.
I didn't come from a hunter family.
Yeah.
I came from a fishing family. Yeah. But anyhow, I don't know when this is supposed to be set. Since that it seems like the people at the end of the movie had just arrived. I would say that it was either America's Western colonial times. Oh. Or before that, and they're just nomadic hunters.
It's based off a 1920s novel. It was written by a hunter too, which is surprising.
Yeah, well, maybe he was worried about over hunting, or maybe he just thought it would be interesting to look at it through the perspective.
He might have. Yeah, he might have just like killed a doe and been like, "Huh, I wonder if I just orphaned a child."
Yeah, maybe he is the hunter. That would be interesting.
Made himself the villain.
Yeah, and but I think it was interesting though still because I honestly don't feel that the hunters are too villainized. Yeah. Because from knowing what man is like, because our perspective is through human eyes. It was the middle of winter. They're hungry too.
Yeah.
And so for me, it seemed a little cycle of life. It very just another element.
Yeah, it very much is just the cycle.
The fires at the end, though.
Yeah.
The fires at the end were pretty villainizing. I'll say that.
Yeah, but they never properly show man either. So I feel like that's another reason why he doesn't seem very villainous. Is because, as you said, he is just another nature or another element of nature for them.
Right.
And that is a good call, but at the same time, I feel like you can make them a little more villainous. I don't know. It's a treacherous ground because hunting is a part of, just life in general.
Right, like an animals hunt too.
Yeah, but they don't really show that in this at all. There's not much. No. Villains. There's not many villains in the animal kingdom for this forest. They're all kind of intermingled pretty peacefully.
I'm kind of intrigued why they didn't include wolves.
Yeah,
I think that there could have been a cool wolf scene.
They might have. It might have just been like, all right, we intended this to be the second Disney film, and now it's the 5th Disney film. Just get it the fuck out.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, they definitely could have had more. Besides just, the unseen man. There are wolves, there are bears, there's villains they could use for the forest.
Right.
Snakes.
But I do kind of like that, even though the fires do put man in a pretty bad light, I still think that they treat it like a neutral force. It's neither good nor evil, but it does threaten us.
Yeah, they don't overcome it either. It's still something they just learn to live with at the end. It's just another part of nature still.
Yeah, because they're all pacifist animals. Well, I shouldn't say that. They fight for their mates, but yeah, that they have no way to counteract what man is doing for sure. Mm-hmm. Because, he has guns.
We win. There's not really much with Bambi. I think we should wrap up with just talking the Golden Age in general. What specifically of the 5 movies we've seen, which do you think wins the golden age and which just lost it? Which was the worst?
Sure. Should we
Let's toss shade.
Rate this one first?
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
So I think I'd give this movie a full face.
Full face?
Like a full face. Like there's nothing that I can really just say, hey, this is what's wrong with this movie. It's a pretty complete package. Like it's a very passive plot, but if you want to watch honestly a pretty calming movie. I don't think that I would say the same thing for children, but for an adult, it's a very calming movie. And I enjoyed watching it. So there you go. I gave it full face, but I wouldn't say, go out of your way to watch it.
Drip, drip, drop, little April flowers. Drip, drip, drop, little April showers.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
It's hard.
Through it, and
a whole chorus singing
drip,
that.
Drop, little April showers.
Little April showers. It's a creepy song. I give it 2.5 stars. 2.5 stars, but it's that song, the Twitter pated scene, and that third act are the things that keep it from falling across that edge of forgetfulness there. It is a good movie. The animation's beautiful. The instrumental soundtrack is lovely, but it is kind of forgettable. Even though I enjoy watching it,
I'll give you that.
If it wasn't for drip drip drop little April showers, I did it. I wouldn't care for it at all, honestly. Even though that song does creep me out. I feel like that's kind of the soundtrack to my nightmares. When I'm having a nightmare, that's what's playing in the background. I don't know what it is about harmonizing choruses, but when the storm hits,
it does kind of, when the storm hits, it is a little
and
creepy,
they all start moaning and woo. It's just fuck that. Yeah. No, thank you.
I also just think Bambi's reaction to the rain is really cute.
It is adorable. I mean, Bambi is just absolutely adorable when he's a child.
Oh yeah.
Another male protagonist for Disney.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd. They're very well known for all their princesses, but in the golden era,
it's just Snow White.
Yeah, 3 of their 4 main protagonists are male.
Huh.
Wonder when it'll change. Yeah. We'll get there, I guess.
We'll get there.
Silver Age, I think.
We'll get there. I'm sure it's around the corner-ish. I mean, we only got what?
It's wartime.
80 more years.
It's the wartime era, and then the Silver Age, and I think Silver Age is like Cinderella. So I think that's when we get to the female protagonist.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty's in there too.
Yep.
All right, cool. So what are you thinking for? We going best and worst?
Yeah, best and worst. This? I think worst is easy for me. It's Fantasia. Even though it's still entertaining, there's not. I don't see myself ever coming back to Fantasia for quite some time. It's good to put on in the background. The classical music, I love that, but at the same time, I'd rather just listen to classical music by itself.
Right. Sure.
And then best of, best of is hard. It's very hard. I think the animation's gotten better as they've gone along. But I think the stories have kind of gone down as they've gone along. And when it comes to which Disney story of these 5 has stuck with me the most, it's Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. I remember the music better. I remember the story better. So I would feel like it just wins by default just because I remember it more than the rest.
Man, I really don't want to put Fantasia down there either. Well, it sounded like you were actually pretty pleased with that. but Fantasia, I don't want to put it down there as well because I did enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would put in its place.
Right.
So I think that Fantasia would be the worst of these 5 movies, right?
Yep. Suck it, Mickey.
And sorry, Mickey. But that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. And honestly, the one that kind of resonated with me the most through this watch through was Bambi. It really was. I don't know what I was in the right frame of mind when I watched that movie, apparently.
There you go.
It also was the one that kind of surprised me the most. Dumbo kind of surprised me too, like just from, compared to my memory. But what surprised me about Dumbo is that it ended right after.
Yeah.
Right after he started flying. I was like, I remember him flying forever.
Yeah.
Like
when I have a very short-term memory because I see so many movies. Again, like I used to go to the theaters once a week.
Right.
And so over time, you just kind of start forgetting movies unless they like really do something to stay with you. And so when I look back at these movies, it's like I remember Snow White, Pinocchio, and Dumbo. I remember aspects of them that really aren't important aspects of their story whatsoever.
Right.
And then with God, I just forgot this movie completely.
Bambi.
With Bambi, gosh,
damn,
just completely left me. With Bambi, it's just like I remember the big incident, the one that everybody knows.
Right. Yeah.
But damn, winter is so fucking long.
It's long. Yeah. But I also don't feel like it's a pad. Like I feel like it's a story element.
Yeah, it definitely is needed. Because again, it is just a year in the life of a deer, and if you skip over winter entirely, it would feel wrong.
Yeah.
And there are some really cute moments in the second act.
Yeah. And also, like, the struggle to find food, I think, was important, too.
Yeah.
And to draw it out because it is probably long.
Yeah, ripping papery sheets of bark off of the trees.
Yeah. Until they can't reach it anymore.
Oh, and then his mom rips off a tall piece for him and gives it to him. Yeah. Oh, it's so cute. And I was still yawning because I was bored.
Yeah, so I mean, it was honestly for me, I think, between that and Pinocchio, and I enjoyed this one more than Pinocchio.
They're all good.
I do agree with you. Yeah, I do agree with you that the music is probably most memorable in Snow White. But I honestly don't remember the music very well in any of these movies.
Yeah.
In any of them.
Yeah, the only thing that I remember from Bambi is the Little April Shower song, and it was nominated for a couple Oscars. One of them was Best Song, and it was what is it? The Love is a Song, and I don't remember that song at all, but that's the one that got nominated.
I think it's the opening song.
It is, yeah.
I think it's
but I just don't remember it. I hear it and it's gone from my mind. Whereas Little April Showers, because it creeps me out a little bit, sticks with me.
Yeah. Well, I think all in all, like I said, I guess I like this movie quite a bit more than you do.
And that's fine.
That is fine.
I'll fight you for it next time we see each other. I'll toss Snow White at your frickin' deer. See who wins.
Watch it again. Yeah, I guess even though I have given it pretty high praise today, I probably won't watch Bambi again for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel that way about all these movies.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, even though I give it to Snow White, I feel like when we get into further eras, it's going to be more, these movies knock all of those other ones out of the ballpark. Right. But before we get to the wartime era, we will be taking a break and talking another playlist, to be determined. Yeah. But we will get back to the wartime era
soon.
Yeah, I think the wartime era of Disney will come in March.
Okay.
But we'll finish out the rest of February here with something else. I'm talking like we're filming this in February. Just behind the scenes, we're filming in November. So many fucking months out.
The Ides of November.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. Yeah, well, we'll see you next time, Couch Potatoes. I've been the Faceless Leon.
And I am the Green Traveler.
Safe travels. And good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. If you want to learn more information about us, check us out on Facebook. You can also check out the Facebook and Instagram accounts of Fiction Works 19. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, or subscribe wherever you catch the show. Thank you all very much for listening.